Peace to the gang, and welcome to Quit the Cat Podcast. Peace to the gang.
Yes, sir.
And welcome back to Quit the Cat Podcast.
All right.
It's your boy BP.
Yes, sir.
Alongside the Bishop.
That's I.
And today's guest
Yes.
is not really a guest.
That's right.
Because he's always here. But he is a father, a husband, a son, and a brother. He is a leader of men and women.
Yes.
He is the owner of Bang Bang Fitness LLC, as well as the owner and trainer at Bang Bang Fitness Center here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He is also the host of this podcast.
Yes.
As well as he's a teacher and a leader, a mentor in Dauphin County Prison, as well as in York County Prison. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, today, really no introduction needed. We have my man, Bishop Bang.
Yes,
What's
sir.
happening,
How
brother?
you doing?
I'm feeling good.
But we can't leave out Bro to Go. They made it all
Bro to
possible.
go, please excuse me.
Made it all possible.
Absolutely, man.
We even leaked a little bit of information, but we're going to keep it moving.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
We good because we there.
All right, smooth.
We already got it. We just waiting to do the details.
Absolutely.
We definitely
You in there. I already know you in there. That's it.
Coming to do a mission.
That's it. So, before we get started on any show, we got to do a quick vibe check. How you feeling today?
I feel like I'm coming into my future self, my higher self. So
Right.
I'm feeling like my higher self today.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
that's what I'm feeling.
Excellent.
That's how I'm feeling. And you, how you feeling today?
Today I'm feeling peaceful.
Peaceful?
Yeah, I'm feeling
That's
that
good.
peace today.
That peace is always a
It's
good
necessary, man.
Yes,
I feel
sir.
good.
Yes, sir.
So, we talking Friday, and we're like, yo, who we going to have for a guest this week? And we didn't really have nobody. And you have reached out to a few folks, and nobody really got back. And that was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I feel like we need to talk to you about you because we have people on here that are entrepreneurs, are people that are striving in what they're doing, and it makes a lot of sense to have them on here. But I feel like this week it makes a lot of sense to talk to you because we talk often, and I know your story, I know where you came from, I know your background. We've reconnected several times. I've known you way back in the day when we was doing music.
Yes.
We reconnected when you got out at Giant, and then we reconnected again on this journey here. And I'm like, man, just from the stories you tell us, whether it's just us chilling or it's us in the gym, you just giving us the background of your life and how you came through things and how you at where you're at today. I find it amazing, and I think that people that don't know you really need to hear your story. There's people that do know you, but they still don't even know all the details of exactly who you are and what it is that you had to come through and fight through personally, mentally, whatever it was just in this world to get to where you're at today. So I feel like it's important to highlight Brent, Bishop, Bang, Mosley, man. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you go ahead and tell us the beginning, how it all started, where it all began at, and how and lead us up to where we're at today.
Well, so I can go on in those stories, but growing up was, I want to say different. And when I say growing up was different, because you see in this world where sacrifices that have to be made,
right?
And when you're young, you don't understand the sacrifices,
right?
But if you pay attention as you're growing up, you start to see the sacrifices and what they meant.
Absolutely.
So I grew up. I'm gonna say I grew up in Hall Manor, which is the South Side.
Yep.
So if you wanted to say like people being originally from South Side, or I know people from the South Side that grew up in the South Side when I grew up in the South Side, 22H Hall Manor. We was living with my grandma. My mom had went into the military, and she left us with my grandmom, and my grandma was watching over us. My dad would come get us too, so he was getting his life together as well. Now that I understand that, because you would look back like, damn, why my dad come get us? Why wasn't he living with him? But the story as it went, he was finding himself and setting up for what later transpired for us to be with him. And we grew up out the South, running around the South, playing as kids play. My grandma was neighborhood grandma, Miss B. She governed all the children in the neighborhood. When moms and dads went out, my my grandma would be one watch all the kids.
Right.
We used to wake up in the morning, man, and people be sitting at our table eating the food, man. I used to be so mad because we'll come downstairs and there's already 6 kids sitting at the table eating cereal.
Eating breakfast.
And we only had so many bowls and spoons, so
right.
you had to sit in the living room and wait until somebody got done, and then you had to wait to eat, you know, because she would feed the neighborhood
right.
as well as feed her own responsibilities. So grew up with my grandma, mom working military and Hershey, you know, working hard to take care of us.
Right.
And, you know, my dad was entrepreneur, different hustles, sell any and everything,
right.
you know. And I used to watch the do's and don'ts of what not to do and what to do. And even before coming into that, like I'm big on looking back to see how you come to a place.
Right.
You know, so like me and my brother, me and Juice, we were big on entertainment, like this type of thing. We used to have a little radio. We used to create radio stations, and you remember when we had the tape, we popped the tape in,
right.
and we'd have an A side and we'd do a B side, and we used to make up songs as we go, did commercial breaks, and did all those things. We used to do that when we was little, you know, and definitely an entertainer.
I remember you said you was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I'm about to get that. I was Michael Jackson. I'm still a Michael Jackson fanatic.
Right, absolutely.
I love Michael Jackson. I love just the vision. Then I used to dance. My grandma I had a cardboard that I would carry.
Right.
I had the jacket. I had the red jacket with the zips on it, the black one,
right.
the red and black one. I had the gloves, the pants, the penny loafers, the shoes, and I had the glittery socks. And I'd go win though. I would win.
What you was in, like,
I was
talent shows?
It was competition. All over the South, they would meet up.
Right.
And they would know, like my brother Unique used to be like, they down around there doing the mic, where Brian, go get him. And they come get me, and I bring my cardboard, and I'll come around there, and then we'd do the Michael Jackson and whatever moves. And this is the funny thing is, it was easy mimic then, and it wasn't like I was watching. We didn't have cable, so it wasn't like we was watching Michael Jackson
all the
perform
time. Yeah,
like we can now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like if you seen something at that time as a kid, you just remembered it and it stuck with you.
Right.
So, you know, I could moonwalk, do the little spin. I probably did the moonwalk probably 30 times in that session and probably spent around 50 times.
That's what you got
because
to do.
It wasn't too much to know. It was
right.
just the grace to it. So that was a thing. Dancing. My dad used to DJ. We'd be with him behind the DJ booth down there on the floor in the bars, you know, when he had to take us with him. And so we just grew up in that music, dancing, entertainment type vibe.
Right.
And that was big for us, even as we was getting older and moving up. This entrepreneurship, hard work, even though we were, I want to say, I don't even want to call it less fortunate, you know, just trying to make, you know, when parents are trying to make things meet, and, you know, seeing the growth, because I seen the growth. Like my mom used to be like, when I come back for y'all, I'm going to have X, Y, and Z. I'm going to do boom, boom, boom. You know, so when she first got her first car, you know, that was big, you know, and she pulled up on us, had her car, and I remember she came back and was like, I'm coming for y'all, so we're going to be moving into a house. And
how were you at that time?
At this time, I want to say, around 6 or 7, somewhere around there, 6 or 7. And I remember we moved on. I want to say Park Street might have been first.
Okay.
We moved on Park Street, and then from Park Street we went, you know, to Briggs, and this is with my mom. We lived on Briggs. My dad was living uptown. At the time, so we would go from my dad's to my mom's, and at that time it was, you know, the neighborhood, still in the city, going to Melrose, inner city schools, and my mom's money started elevating, so to say, in her career, moving up in the Army, moving up in the job. So then, you know, she was like, we about to move up on out of here. We going out Lower Paxton. So move out Lower Paxton. My mom sells her house to my dad on Briggs. So we still on Briggs. We still got our neighborhood friends.
Right.
We still in the hood, basically, to us. We like, okay, we're going to be living out here. Because at first we was like a little distraught because like, damn, we about to move out here, all of our friends.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, nah, I'm going to sell the house to your dad. And y'all can come up here and stay with your dad, like back and forth. So that's where that journey of being out both locations started to play. I remember going to Central Dauphin, and I'm going to say just assess me to feel like I wasn't on that level. So at that time, I was a fifth grader. I remember going into Northside Elementary as a fifth grader. I like, not to hold you, bro, it felt like it probably might have been 2 weeks or something like that. Or it could have been longer. I don't know what they came up with that they decided that I wasn't on the fifth grade level.
Right.
So it wasn't like I flunked by choice or it was by grades.
Right.
They just put me back in the fourth grade.
So that was just their opinion of you at that point.
So at this time, you know, I still remember how I felt because here I am. You can count the black kids on your hand.
Absolutely.
I remember it was John Wilson and this girl, Lori Fishburne. Like,
I remember her.
And we were like the only 3 black people in this school. So I'm in fifth grade, and then here y'all tell me, grab your stuff, and you walk me down the hall and put me in fourth grade. So, you know, I used to see the other kids that I was playing with and going to lunch with, and they like, oh, you in fourth grade. Like, they just bumped me back. So that was like an adjustment in identity and things like that. That made me a little bit mad, angry. So I terrorized that school when I was there. I remember Mr. Beard was the principal. Oh, I gave him hell, man. I remember I gave him it wasn't the fact that I couldn't learn or anything like that. It was the fact that y'all just did what y'all did.
Did they ever try to?
No, it wasn't no test.
You?
It wasn't no test.
It wasn't nothing.
It was like a meeting that I wasn't in on, and you know, my mom said that she felt like she always talks about she regretted allowing, because my grandmom always said, don't allow them to do that.
Right.
And my mom, she said that, you know, the school tried to convince her, and my grandma kept saying, don't let them do that. Like, let him be where he's at. And if he can't make it, let him not make it on his own.
Right.
Don't just assume that somebody is not up, because, you know, it was an adjustment coming from Melrose to going to Northside.
It is a big difference.
It was different. So that happened, and the fourth grade, that class became my class out there, and I remember, you know, meeting John and certain people out there, you know, and I was cool. I was cool after it settled in. After the dust cleared and I settled in, you know, it was good. So I lived both worlds. And not to go into detail, I lived both worlds. You know that, both world mentality, all the way up to, I remember I finished, I want to say, I got to sixth grade. I did 1 year at Lingelstown.
Okay. And how was that?
It was different. You know, so for me, that was the first time of middle school. So this is the middle school that I knew at the moment. Right. So then I remember whatever was going on between my mom and my dad. My dad was like, oh, they need to be up here to go to school here. So my dad ended up taking us, and we went back to live with him. We did a lot of back and forth hopping, whatever they was going through. Right. But, you know, nowadays kids got the right to be like, no, I'm staying here. I'm not going there. Like, we ain't had that choice. So my mom was like, okay, if you feel you can raise them, I'm going to send them.
But even with that being the decision that she made, to have that communication amongst them is still vital, because some parents could be like, nigga, you ain't raising nothing. I'm going to take my kids, and you ain't going to see them. And if you think you could do better, then you better go to court, and you better fight to get them.
One thing I love about my mom is the type, I'm going to show you. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you.
You think this is
do
easy?
What you say you think you can do. Right. So you know, it was. We already were adjusted to the people because we be on the hill. So, right. You know, they went to school, and this is a funny thing. Juice was already going to Woodward, so Juice didn't switch over yet. Like, I was just out Central Dauphin.
Just by yourself.
Juice was still going to Woodward, so he was still in the city, still going to school there. Right. So I ended up 7th grade. I was at the zoo and up to middle school. And for anybody that's in my class of age,
tell them what the zoo is.
The zoo was the middle school. And this is before, Brun Cut stuff probably was going on, but there was an era where it was like the blacks versus the Latinos. Uh-huh. That was the era of where blacks were in school beefing with the Spanish kids. And I remember one time we had a riot, and this riot happened to fall. It's so vivid to me because it was a thunderstorm outside. And this just set the mood. Right. Thunderstorming. And it was a riot inside the school. Oh, we was fighting. Riot? It was a riot.
A full-blown riot.
People were fighting. And not just fighting. Like, people were more of desecrating and destroying the school.
Yeah.
I remember we knocked the wall. Well, I ain't going to say we, but my peers. They knocked the wall down that was connecting the lunchroom. And it was crazy, man. And I remember one time I could leave and go anywhere. I used to go swimming every day. I didn't even have swimming as I had it one period, but I was always good with being a people person, so to say.
Right.
Like, I knew how to talk to teachers and knew how to get the adjustment to what I wanted, because I promise you, this teacher, yes, I was real good. This teacher knew that I already had swimming. And now I'm here again.
Right.
And I just it wasn't safe for me. I just feel like this is the safest place for me. So, and right. I was swimming all the time. Like, I would come in, have my swim stuff. That's how I not learned how to swim, but that helped me.
Right.
And, I took swimming lessons before, but just having swimming that much at the middle school, from there to going to outdoor center, so I'm here helping feeding the animals, helping take care of the outdoor center when I'm supposed to be doing something else. So it was like coming from Central Dauphin, coming there, they didn't really pay attention to me.
Right. We're in the city school?
Middle school. Because my mom came up there one time, Miss Howard, may she rest in peace. I call her daughter Sharon, my sister. Miss Howard, my mom came up there and was like, I'm coming to check on my son. And they was like, who's your son? And then she said my name. They was like, where is he at? And they was like, what grade is he in? What house is he in?
Oh, they didn't even know.
They didn't even know I was there. Yeah. Like, bro, I was like literally going to classes, doing like stuff and just doing me.
Right.
And nobody never checked me. So it was like, I had certain people like Mr. Asado and different little teachers that was making sure, you in their class, you do their work and things like that. But the guidance counselors and things, they didn't even know I was there. And when my mom came to check on me and see what was up with me, and they didn't know who I was, my mom was livid kind of. She was like, oh, yeah, I can't have him.
Yeah.
We're going to have to switch him back. And then, Miss Howard said, I'm going to look out for him and, finish the year and things like that. I didn't even get to finish. Dude, I think I want to say after my mom came there, probably a month after that, I was back out in Linglestown.
Okay.
It was like, because I seen them 6th grade. I wasn't there at the beginning of the year. And next, in the middle of the year, I'm thrown right back in Linglestown. And, it was an adjustment. And
how did that make you feel though?
At the time, I was.
What was the thought?
It was
process?
just different. It took away my freedom. Like, because up to middle school, I could skip. I can go home. Man, we'd be in the cemetery. We'd be cutting through the pen dot up there playing on, walking through their stuff, doing, and not really worried about school, man. And my guy, Dalil Muhammad, that was my guy in 7th grade. Mm-hmm. And that's when the guns became a part of my life.
In 7th grade?
Yeah. So I'm going to say, do you know what's so crazy? By 7th grade, I think I caught a gun charge 15.
Really?
So I had caught a gun charge 15 and, juvenile, it wasn't harsh. So then I started playing with guns. And
what was going on at that point in time that you felt you needed a gun?
Nothing. It was just something we wanted to do.
You just had to have a gun.
Yeah, gangsters carry guns.
Word. So that was your theory on it. Like gangsters carry guns. I'm a gangster. I need a gun.
We carry guns. Like it was funny, man. I can tell this now. It's funny that it was Lingelstown, 7th grade. That's why I said after it. So my man John, he bring me this. I'll never forget it. This Beretta. It was a 45 Beretta, chrome. This gun was so big and so heavy.
Right.
And now, mind you, I'm a kid still. I'm a kid.
Yeah, you 7th grade.
Bro,
yeah,
we don't got no gun training, nothing, man. And listen, this is so funny. I remember I was the type. Let me hold it. In every situation.
Right.
I'm the oldest. I'm holding the gun.
Right.
Like, that was always me. I'm holding the gun. Every time. I'm holding the gun. I'm holding them.
Give me the gun.
Yeah. So I had this gun, 45 Beretta, chrome. Remember, it was big. And I remember playing with it. We had 2 bullets. Playing with it. So John like, yo, go ahead. Like, hold it. My dad got a bunch of them. I said, say less.
Oh, word.
So
okay.
we don't know about stolen guns, serial codes, serial numbers and all that stuff. We don't know about that. I remember having a gun, and I remember John was like, bring it to school.
Oh, okay.
I said, I heard. Boom, so we bring it to school. I'm quiet in class. Like, I'm doing my regular, normal routine.
Right.
So now, John's like, I got more bullets for it. We busting it up. Okay, boom. So I get a gun to him. I got the shells. We in school. This guy telling everybody.
He got the joint with him.
Not when I say telling everybody. When you tell more than one, when you tell one person, you told everybody because you telling somebody.
Word travels fast in school.
And this is the era before school shootings.
Yeah.
So these ain't the things where you'll be worried about and you hearing things and you seeing. There's no social media. There's none of that stuff that's going on. So I hear from a couple people. John got a gun. Somebody come to me. Did you know John got a gun? I said, nah, I ain't know John got a gun. So then they call this big assembly. Everybody to the auditorium, all the classes. So, bro, in my mind, when they're bringing everybody to the auditorium, the whole school, I go in the bathroom. Now, here am I thinking, right? Don't judge me. I took the shells and dumped them in a paper towel. I wet the paper towel,
right,
and then I took more paper towels and I wet the paper towels and I stuck all the paper towels and I soaked and wet them and I dropped it in the trash can. Boom. I go into the auditorium, we sitting there, everybody's in there, and I remember him saying, John, his last name, Brent Mosley, to the office.
So they brought everybody down there just to bring y'all to the office.
The whole school was in the auditorium.
Yeah.
The whole school. I'll never forget it. So when we come in, we all walk into the auditorium. When we walk into the auditorium, you see the Lower Paxton police people in the lobby. They got dogs and all these things in the lobby. So they come to me. They say, "Where's John?" I said, "He was here. He was here." Like, John already left and started walking to the crib.
Yeah.
Yo, so bruh already broke out. Like, he knew.
He knew what time it was.
From Lingelstown to where he lived in Devonshire Manor was a long walk.
That's a hike.
Yeah, so listen, this is the crazy part. While we're in the school, they search my locker, search his locker. They told him, well, you had a gun. I said, I never had nothing. Nobody ever seen me with nothing.
Right.
So they searching bathrooms, lockers. They ain't find nothing on me. They let me go back. He left the school, so they let everybody go back to their classrooms. Right. So as I'm on the bus and we're getting back over our way, and we're getting out, a couple people was like, yo, they picked John up on his way to his house. So they ended up grabbing him, getting the gun. Bruh ended up, it wasn't stolen or nothing like that. It was his dad's.
Yeah.
You know, he had it on his person when they got him, so they were saying that it was in school because he had it.
He was at
in
school,
his book bag. Yeah. So, bro ended up getting booked for that. He was going for a while. That was my thing after that. Like, after that, it was guns. Like, I literally carried a gun to school, I want to say, not now. So when I say carrying it to school was because at this time we're out of Lingelstown.
Right.
We enter Central Dauphin.
Okay.
So now I go every day from Central Dauphin after school to the Hill. That's how that works.
So was you driving at that point?
No, at this time I wasn't driving. So I would get rides from seniors or certain females. I would get rides, or certain people, if they drove, they would come get me from school.
Right.
And
drop me off.
Yeah. I could get rides from people. You know what I mean? Get a ride in the hood, and so it got to the point where by the time I got dropped off, Bron Cuz stuff was escalating at a higher rate. And at this time, I didn't mention that I went to school. So on the Hill, like, you have your friends, they go to school, people go to school, but then, some of the people I started hanging around and started to meet, they didn't go to school.
Right.
Like, a lot of my homies and friends, like, they didn't go to school, and some of them was because their mom didn't sign them up.
Right.
And things like that. So I didn't really know the value of what I was learning and what I knew compared to everybody else. Right. And it started to play a factor, though, and it really started to make sense when it came to time to make money, so to say. I always worked a job and hustle. Like, when I turned 15, I got my working license. I was working and hustling at the same time. Right, at this time, we was selling weed. And this is the weed with this ain't the stuff they sell now. This is the stuff.
Wasn't no Zaza.
Yeah, this was all the...
It was regular.
Yeah, that other stuff. So, I started doing that, was getting weed, and out Central Dauphin before it was a sting. So I don't, not to go into the sting, but it was a sting with a couple people, and it made the paper. It was huge. But these guys that were, before the sting happened, they were at my school. So, some people can mimic what's hood or mimic the style versus when you see it.
Right.
So these dudes like, oh, yo, Lil Bruh's cool. Bring Lil Bruh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, they think
they rock with you.
We are old heads, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, bro, I got my old heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, you ain't even set up to be.
You. So, John's out. John back in the school. So it's we in there. Oh, man, I remember Billy Simon. You remember Billy?
No.
Man, we went out there with Jermaine Hall. We all, like, Central Dauphin by this time started getting a couple of people folks, out the way. Derek Saunders and a couple of people going out there.
Yeah.
But before, you had a couple of the white boys, Tour, and all these dudes that was, the old heads, and they was selling weed, and like, young boy, we want to put you on. I'm like, okay. You be in the city.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can start moving this up there. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool. That's what I'm going to do. Let's do this.
Right.
So when I get up there, first thing they give me was a pound. Now, mind you, I ain't never had a pound of weed before.
Right.
I was playing, I want to say 9th grade football. I was at practice. That's how this came about. I'm at practice. I'm on my way to practice.
Right.
Practice.
Practice.
So I'm talking about practice. Yeah, so I wanted to practice, and this car pulled up. John, like, yo, what you gonna do? Play football or you gonna move this? I was like, oh, they gave it to you? Like, yeah. Coach said, where you going? I said, I quit.
just
like that.
On the way to the joint, like, I'm done.
I quit. I went and put my helmet, took all that stuff off. I got in the car. It was yard out. So I had to, we split the pound. He took his, I think 16. I took 8. He took 8.
Right.
And I'll take it on the head. First thing they say to me, where you get this from? I was like, I got it from my folks out there. They was like, they got more. I said, I think so. I gotta sell this. And
right.
Then, they're gonna look out. Boom, boom, boom. So the first time it went cool, and it was working out. I made a couple runs, brought some of it back, and they trusted me with more. So then as I'm getting more, I don't know, like my brothers, they they going with the program, like they making it work for themselves, and I didn't recognize that at the end of the day that they was setting me up to get more, and they was going to burn me, but because it wasn't mine and it was coming from somebody from out there. So what happened was they ended up not burning me, but just not paying me the full amount of what I was supposed to be getting to return. We doing more smoking it, and they're selling it and doing whatever they want instead of giving me the money and doing what I'm use the young boy, get it from him. And so that long story short, I ended up owing them. So I ended up owing the dudes from out east.
Out the way.
So I told them, we can make it right. I just need some more. We're gonna figure something out. I got this money for you, but I'm gonna pay you, but I need another one. So the boy was like, cool. So my cousin Trill, may rest in peace, he was like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna put this in this. And this was funny, we put it wasn't even money in the bag. I forgot what we folded in the bag and had it in the paper bag. And I remember we went out to the bull's house. Out to his house. He trusted, like, come to the crib, boom. Now, I'm feeling secure because I got my folks with me. You see what I'm saying?
You got backup now.
I got my folks with me, So we go out there, man. We go into the crib. He got the stuff on the table. We got somebody outside car running. So I'm nervous. I'm sitting there, and he's like, yeah, you got the money? He was like, yeah, is this the new joint? He was like, yeah, this it. My cousin Trill snatched that joint off the table. Ooh, run out the door. I turn around, run too. We run, jump in the car squared off. Now, mind you, bro, I got to go back to school out here.
I'm about to say, how's that working?
I have to go back to school out here. But I'm strapped now.
Right,
so
okay.
I'm
right.
So, it was things where I got out there. He see me, he was like, I feel the energy before I get into school.
Right.
Like, it's already whispers.
You already knew it was.
They waiting for me to come to school. And I'm like, at first I was like, I can't just be like, I'm not going to school. My mom was like, you got to get out of here. You go to school.
What's wrong with you?
So I remember I get to school, Eric is buzzing. Oh, touring, I'm looking for you. It's all this chatter. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes is going to do whatever case may be.
Right.
So I remember them approaching me, talking about, oh yeah, young boy, you gotta pay that back. You with that, and plus you won't rob us. Like, bro, it was real heated. Like, after school, we going, It's like, okay, that ain't happening. So I remember leaving early so I can get out to school.
Right.
And hurry up and get to where I was going, man. But it got crazy. Like, like that episode with them and me burning them, it got crazy until, a couple of them got locked up.
Right.
They got busted in that sting. One of the persons that I burnt, he didn't get caught up in the sting like everybody else, and bro still wanted his money. It was funny because I'm a grown man. I remember bro hit me on Facebook like, I remember what you did to me. Like, bro, we in our, I was like, this was mid-30s a couple years ago.
Stop,
like, bro, you still thinking about that?
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it wasn't, I think, the first time that they approached me outside of school. I think they tried to come up on Walnut before.
Right.
They tried to come on the hill.
And that's still too close to the hood for that. You know what I mean?
That was way too close, because then they seemed like, he's with some different people out here. We're going to have to wait until he's out there.
Yeah.
Like, they came up and seen what it was, you know what I mean? So, I like, and the brothers like, yo, who's these dudes? Like, they ones from the weed.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they shut that down.
They was
They shut that down.
Y'all better go about Central Dauphin.
Listen, if anything, we... Plus, I had that joint on me, but I wouldn't have popped nobody in school. But that just made me... I'm sure I'm small. It made me... That's where my heart was.
Right.
So, that situation, all of that transpired, 9th, 10th grade, still learning, doing my work, teachers helping me, where I wasn't lacking, past, and, I come up on the hill, people ain't think I went to school. They just think I was chilling, and, like they was.
You just came outside.
Because everybody didn't come out at the same time. I pop up 2:30, 3 o'clock after school. I didn't never really mention where I went to school. Like, my close homies knew, and it paid off, though, because I was around people that couldn't count.
Absolutely.
Couldn't, like, having some type of formal, like, some type of education will help you assess situations differently.
Very much so.
So I looked at the hood business differently, you know. And then Carrie, may rest in peace. Carrie was like, yo, I'm gonna take you on the other side, introduce you to Squeak, and I met them, and that's when cocaine, crack came in my life, and that's when I started, like, they was like, yo, we ain't selling weed no more, we selling this. And I got to see, it wasn't like you just watching New Jack City and nothing like this. You know what, bro, I want to say this had to been like 10th grade.
Really?
Yeah, this was like 10th grade.
Yeah.
This is like 10th grade before going to 11. Like, this was around then, because, like, people out Central Dauphin didn't know what crack was.
Right.
They didn't know what crack was. Like, the students there didn't know what crack was. You know, it was normally, like, LSD, the little sheets, acid that they was getting off the paper, and it was just, like, weed and drinking, smoking weed out of bowls. And
a couple people might have had some coke out that way.
Yeah, like, you know, but it wasn't nothing too, because they didn't know what crack was.
Right.
I remember I didn't know what crack was until I remember one time, man, my cousin had gave me a quarter, and it was already chopped up. And I started running with some New York guys that, you know, moved on Regina Street. I started hanging with them, you know. Anthony, rest in peace. He was like, yo, I can show you how to move this. And he gave me a couple $2 for it, but not as much as I knew it was worth. I came back to my cousin. He said, what you do with that stuff? I said, I gave it to my man. He gave me $120. He was like, what? You know how much that was worth? You could have made like $500-$600 off of that. I was like, I didn't know. So that was my first time fumbling the bag. My cousin was like, he was hot. You know what I mean? But then it wasn't scarce to get. Like, there were so many different people getting coke and cooking crack, and you can find different everywhere you went. Like, every old head in the hood was trying to be the plug.
Right.
And it was a point where everybody was competing, not with guns or things like that, but just with the product itself.
Right.
So if I got the better product, you gonna come to me.
Then I win,
you know, and you know, that type of thing. So I was the type of person, I was cool with everybody, man. And I used to I would buy something from somebody, get fronted something from you. Then I'll come to you, buy something from you, front me something. Then I'll go over here to this dude, yo, I'm going to buy something from you, front me something. So I used to stack crack instead of stacking money.
Right.
So that's what I did. I would, you know, some people would stack money, spend money.
Right.
I'd rather stack the product.
And then
that way I'm always going to have, and then that way, you know, like I was feeling like that would be my fastest way to selling weight. So, you know, you do that and you become good on the block, you get a lot of sales, you get people, you know, so it was like to the point where the old heads was like, not territorial, but nah, this is my young boy, he get money, he with me. So they started wanting you to be with them. No, he's with me. So it turned into that type of thing. You know what I mean? And then, you know, the hood has its thing where, you know, we was Elm Street and you had Regina Street. Didn't like Elm Street, even though we was a street over, even though we all used to be cool, because now money and the game is changing to where now there's so many people in the hood selling the same thing, but there wasn't enough fiends.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So that's how the war started. You know, and then you had the people that wasn't really hustlers. They just was out there fumbling the bag, buying sneakers, falling off their feet, needing plays. You had, man, you could get in the car, bro. It'd be to the point where you can get in the car and let's say you was getting a half. There'd be old heads that didn't know how to count. If you brought a bunch of 5s and 10s, and you, real quick, dudes was just taking money and sticking it on the other pile of the money.
Right.
And
you could have gave them $20.
Oh, yeah. At that time,
a couple hours, they didn't even know.
It was definitely popping. Like, it was from hanging with Amph and them and seeing, like, because, bro, Amph got money. I don't care what nobody says. If anybody knows Anthony Burke, bro, got money. Like, he was getting money, and you learn to watch Squeak was getting money. Like, you see people that were getting money. And, you know, I was around them, and we all were together, so to say, rock and all these different people. So you had that transition, all the street stuff, you know, and then life comes, not to get into all that, but that's where it started taking me to that point and just grinding. And I got into the pill game. There wasn't too many people doing that.
Right.
And, you know, I remember before I get to that, So that's too fast forward. But 12th grade, got kicked out of school for fighting somebody that didn't even go to my school. Ended up getting, no school would take me, so I ended up going to John Harris.
Right.
That didn't go well because now I'm up there around the uptown.
Around the action,
so, it wasn't like you could learn in peace because I was Central Dauphin. You can learn and go to your class and not worry about it. So now I'm up to high. So now it's definitely got to carry it on me. Staying to myself a little bit because you don't want to get caught with the joint and stuff like that. But we didn't know no penalties of what is happening now if you get caught with a gun in school. But at that time, you
just out there with it.
So school was over. Bro, listen, my first day up John Harris, it was a riot. Oh, my first day. When they see me there, they was like, oh, he's up here. Because all my homies didn't go to school.
Right.
Bro, the people that were going to school at that time, you had a few handful, like Neil Diz, Preston was going to school, me, Jammer. It was only a handful of dudes that was really in the game going to school. Everybody else was on the block.
Right.
Like, they ain't go to school. So you had a handful, and then you had certain dudes in the hood that will rumble for the cause of the hill and stuff. Because like the Darkville dudes, they went to school. So you like, okay, I'm still up here with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's still some homies from the hood that, and in the uptown, they got far away to travel to get to there. So I remember my first day up there, man, with to Maine, and it was a whole riot out front. A whole fight. We was fighting. We ain't never doing bus. It was cops, everything. So I was like, dang. I remember getting called in the next day, and they was like, if you're from Central Dauphin, how do they know you? I remember that.
Right.
Like,
well, that's what the
school principal said to me, because she was like, everybody know, if you're not from here, how does everybody know you?
Right.
And I was like, I am from here. I just was going to school somewhere else. So I ended up getting locked up, and I ended up getting my getting my high school diploma in jail because at the time the school curriculum in jail was Central Dauphin.
Right.
So,
okay.
I still had my credits, all that stuff rolled over. So I finished in there, got my GED, finished that thing. I got it converted to a high school diploma, and I had my diploma. So that's how that went. Then it was just like.
Did your folks not know what you was doing? Like, was no one aware of besides your homies and maybe your brothers? My dad,
man. My dad at the time, bro, my dad was the biggest supporter of whatever you wanted to do. If it was negative, if you was going to do pull some work in, my dad was the type he's going to.
Right.
He still is. He be with the shit right now to this day. Like, even in his 70 years of age, 70, about to be 70.
And I bet he seemed nice to me, but I don't you know what I mean? He's nice to me. So.
Yeah, he's nice to everybody. But let it be something where you got to ride or you got to, he is down the ride.
Right.
Like, he's down the ride. So, get that transition, jail, doing those things, and just, I got into the music.
Right.
Doing the music.
I remember
we was selling pills, doing the music. We had the joint popping, made the label, was doing shows. And I say this to say that in that stage, and this is the advice that I would give to anybody, when you start to do something, you got to learn the game with it. I remember I started hanging around A&Rs, managers. I started hanging around the people, watching how they were running their companies, going to Philly. I remember before State Property started booming, my folks was from Philly, so he was the one guy that was running the record label up here.
Right.
He was from Philly, so he was always around State Property, was around PD Crack, Young Guns. Like, I was around these guys when they were standing on the corner, still sitting on the corner and talking about music in Philly. Like, I was standing around them, like going in barbershops in Philly where they were meeting and battling, and I'm just watching. Because I wasn't really a rapper. I came in as a rap, but with my label and my team, I started trying to rap. But I was more in the business aspect. Like, I'm going to use this drug money, I'm going to use it to do this, and we're going to do boom, boom, boom. And I had a team of people that believed in me. So even to get that experience, that was a good thing, So learning, and man, bro, we built the studio, got the equipment, got top of the line equipment. We even started recording other people's music. That's how far we got along with just getting the things that was needed. I learned how to work the boards, learned what patching was, plugins, all of those different things. Learned about all of that stuff just from reading the the Pro Tools,
right,
you know,
right.
and became familiar with the business and what it would take. So, you know, I feel like at any business that people are doing, you have to get the knowledge behind what it is that you're doing to become that thing. Yep. And the more you get the knowledge behind a certain thing, you become that thing.
Absolutely.
It becomes what you think because your brain is so filled with...
That's all you do.
That's thing. It. So it becomes that thing. And I remember one time, man, this is how the fitness thing came along. I was sitting there in front of the computer one day, and I could see my reflection. And I don't know if everybody, I just felt in my body, yo, you ain't healthy, bro. Like,
that was your thought?
Yeah, I was looking in the mirror, I was like, looking at the computer screen reflection, I was like, man, I gotta get right. Like, you know, I'm late 20, I'm like, yo, something ain't right, I gotta get right.
So there was no one you seen, you just looked at yourself and seen, like, I gotta change this. I seen myself
and I was like, I gotta change. So I remember getting out of the chair, I'll never forget, getting out of the chair, trying to bust out push-ups. And because I was like in jail, I was working out.
Right.
Or they was calling me swole. And I'm like, he was lifting beds and water. That was hard. But it was something that I did like doing, you know what I mean? So I remember sitting in front of the computer like, dang, bro, you was doing this over here and you was feeling, so you got to get back to that. Right. So I just remember doing push-ups and I started, you know, making my transition. Because I remember telling my brother, look, y'all take this music stuff. Y'all still do what y'all do. Yeah. You know, it didn't go because now the brain, a little bit of the business part is going. Yeah. So, you know, now y'all got to figure it out on your own because I'm transitioning into something else. Yeah. So I started, man, working out, started taking it seriously. I remember, I tried to sign up for when they first came here to Stampede.
Yeah, there's first Stampede.
Bro. I didn't know nothing about. I haven't been playing football since the day I put my helmet up and shit and went to sell drugs. I had to learn football all over, and this ain't when social media and all this stuff. So I had to learn about the 40-yard dash, how to do the stance, what kind of drills they did, all these different things to prepare myself to be a football player.
Absolutely.
You know, so I started getting in the mind. I was jogging with the vest, taking the dog every morning, relentless. I'm working out every morning, doing drills, running cones. I'm doing all these things as if I'm a football player, just to get ready for this practice. So, you know, this is preparation and what you're going to do. Right. So I do this. Get to the practice because I'm gonna get it real quick. Yeah. Get to the practice, and I remember. First play, stubbed my thumb. My thumb swelled up so bad that it took my focus off of everything that was going on. Right. Then it came to the mental part where they was out there and was calling plays and doing, and everybody knew where to go and what to do, and I didn't. And you didn't know. I didn't know none of that because I didn't play in college. I didn't know none of that stuff. So, you know, it didn't work out for me, but I was sad because I trained so hard. And I remember laying in bed, I was mad that I didn't make the team, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna play flag football across the river. Ended up doing that, you know, and then my boy Mike Chisholm hit me up and was like, yo, you want to play football? I was like, what's up? He was like, you can play for the Harrisburg Sharks. Right. You know what I mean? Come try out for the Harrisburg Sharks. So I was like, all right, I'm with it. You know what I mean? Went out there. You know, I'm still working out, still not a trainer yet. Still just, you know, for me, working out, going in the hood, working out at the playground. So I go try out for them. I was like, okay. You know, it wasn't really a trial. You could make the team if you could play, be a little bit. So I started doing that. And that was different transitioning to that. But I went to the point where I started training people in the hood when they seen me. Right. Like, bro, can I come join you? Right. Boom, boom. That's how I started. So I was training people in the hood. Just from you working out on yourself, trying to get ready for football. Yep. So then I was like, man, I need to get in the gym. Right. So I was like, I want to be a trainer at the gym. You know, I ain't know nothing about certification, know about those things. So I was like, how can I get in the gym? And my stepmom at the time was working with Rick Brown at Planet Fitness. Okay. So I was like, finding out about training. I went in there to be a trainer. It was like, you need certification. The trainers, they know this. So I was mad, like, man, I got this. So I was like, well, what y'all hiring for? The janitor. You can clean it down. I said, yep, let me get it. So I came in there as the janitor. I remember I cleaning, Then I'll come in and work out with my janitor stuff. And
right.
People would see me working out and just see the exercises I was doing. They'd come over and be like, you work here, can you help me? And the trainers used to get mad because people was coming over asking me for help.
Right. The
trainers like, he's just the janitor.
Yeah.
So, you know, Planet Fitness at the time was 24 hours. So I worked in the morning cleaning, then I had a break in the daytime, and I came back around 6, and then I worked the 6 to like 3:30, something in the morning cleaning.
Okay.
Bro, I had so many people come into the gym after 8 to work out with me and to train at Planet Fitness that it looked like a club. And I remember one time they pulled up and I was like, all these people here, bro, I had that joint jumping. I used to have that joint jumping.
That's crazy.
So many people would come there at night when I was there, and that's how I started. And then people started recognizing me in the morning too, like, okay. And that's when I knew, I was like, hey, you know, I got something here.
Right.
Like, people's trusting me and coming to me.
Right.
So, you know, I couldn't train nobody in there, but I still had people like Lil, she's still with me, like people that started trusting me to train them. You know, I ended up moving to Virginia for a little bit, came back, still was working out. And even when I was down there, I was doing floors in Virginia when I moved to Virginia.
Right.
And I still go work out. And then people used to see me like, yo, you still go to the gym and do these floors and carry this stuff? I'm like, yep. You know what I mean? And I ended up doing the floors, learned how to do floors, did that for about 6 months, came back here. And then that's when I hooked up with, I came back here, I started training B Major.
Right.
So I trained B Major for a while, and we was like working out together, and it was just building and turning into something, man. So then people started asking me like, yo, where can we? So I started having people at Reservoir Park in the band shell.
Okay,
you know,
okay,
we started doing that there, and then I remember it, you know, we switched from Planet Fitness out to Golds, and I'll bring people to Golds, and they'd be like, you're not a trainer, you can. So when they see me, they knew what it was. And plus from hanging with, like, I met Terry.
Right.
That's when Terry gave me all the information, put me on the things. And they knew when they seen him or seen me, they knew, like, oh, what y'all in here doing?
Right.
Because, you know, they started pinpointing.
Yeah.
They really was on his ass, like, you know, they was kicking him out of there because they knew he was training people. So I flew under the radar a little bit and got a job at the airport, working in the airport. One day I was like, man, I got this whole basement. I was staying in my basement at the crib.
Right.
And I was like, I'm about to turn this into a gym. So I cleaned up all the stuff, got rid of everything. And I remember just putting the floor down. Only thing we had was a couple dumbbells and some yoga mats. And it was just like that whole structure of building to where it was at now is just, it's just so much in detail in that by itself.
And that's why I'm like, we can't, I know we got to get ready to cut it off, but I'm like, I think that, like, it's so much, even from the time you had to go to Virginia and all, and what was all going on. Like, we got the early story, but what got you here is like,
bro, it was
so, a very important part of it.
It was to even get to that part, man. It's so much in that story that, you know, it's stuff in my past that I try to leave, that I, you know, try to leave there. Like, you know, I almost lost my life a couple times, down there. And that was very shaping into the person that I am, man. And like that whole, like the street life stories and the stuff that I endured, or things I seen, the murders and the things, like, you know, I lost my cousin. He got killed right beside me. You know, I lost both cousins. I lost Truck. I lost Ann. We lost, it's so many, even down to, man, it's Carrie. You lost Carrie. I remember the first time, I can't think of Ralphie, when he first got killed. Like, it was just so much, man. You know, Amph, you know, Fiendball, that situation, all those different things, man, and just countless other stuff. Like, when I tell you, outside in the city after 12 o'clock at night, I'm going to say after 11, after the sun go down, the city used to be different. Like, it was a different world after night. Like, man, I remember I seen somebody get decapitated and their head was rolling down Cameron Street. Like, me and my cousin said, like, these were the things that before I moved, like, these were the things that I was like, man, I gotta get out of here. You know, like, I felt like it was a point in time where death was following me. And then, you know, the more you move up in that game, the enemies come bigger. Some of them be the people that's right beside you, you know. So that, like, when I started trying to sell weight and started trying to move weight and have, like, the adversaries became very, very different. And, you know, my life was in danger a lot of times just from making money, and, you know, I'll let that hammer fly. It was just like to protect yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the drama sometimes. Like, I was with the shit. Like, I like shooting guns. And it was the point where I met my match. Like, I'll tell anybody, there's somebody tougher than you. You know what I mean? There's like, I be hearing people talking now that be talking like, bro, you never let that hammer fly. You never been on the other side of them bullets. You never been there. You know, there's people that been on the other side, and there's some people that just talk and they just did jail. You never really been out here to know what it's like when somebody's trying to take you up, because y'all never got to that level of making money. So, like, I tell anybody, if you think you're going to come out here and just eat, and ain't nobody coming for you, the wolves is coming if you start making money. And don't let the chicks be like, trust me, the wolves is coming. So, you know, and there's going to be some wolves that are bigger than you, you know. And I'm thankful today, man, that a lot of that stuff has shaped me. And, you know, I always was a different person. I always put even my mind to the criminal activities. I always, even in jail, like, made the adjustment, made routine, figured out a way. Like, I read all the time. So, you know, I've been reading since elementary. Like, I always loved books. I always kept books around. And it was just like, now, I remember that one big, that year I dug in the books so heavy. And I promise you, that year that I read in jail, I never did a day. You know, because my mind, I read, bro, as soon as I finished the book, I picked up another one. As soon as I finished the book, I picked up another one. As soon as that way I never had to think about it. My mind was just filled with Sidney Shelton book and, Donald Goines books and all those different books. The Cat and I read a lot of Along Came the Spider, that author, and just different, man. I was reading so many books. So when I came home, you know, doing the Pro Tools, doing those things, reading those books, and I had realized in the basement I want to say 2011. I'm going to take that back. 2013. It came to me, dude, you doing too much TV and social and not enough reading. And that's when I started reading full time and making sure if anything I'm going to do in my spare time is read. And I haven't put a book down since. And I done read hundreds of books on any and everything. My reading speed is at a immaculate level. I'm reading 3 books right now at one time. And, you know, and I can retain them, separate them, make the intention to separate the information. And it's like a muscle, and you become stronger. So I always just tell people, anything that you do, you put the knowledge behind it, that's how you become a thing. You know what I mean? You have to study, you have to know the knowledge, and then put the action, and then become the thing. And then, you know, make it plain, write it down, set your price, because if you don't, the world will set it for you. Know how much you want to make, know what you want to do, know who you want to be, and you do it. You know, and so like right now, you know, I'm in the prisons, where I never thought I would have been able to do, and I'm reaching back, giving back. I always wanted to speak and do speaking engagement, and it has come to me. I don't got to pander, I don't got to do, like, it comes to me to do the thing of which your gift will make room for you, and when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Absolutely.
That's how it goes.
And the beautiful thing is, you took us from the beginning to that part there, that you went from no, it wasn't even. It's not fluff. It's real deal. But to be where you're at today, to say I can stand on the other side of this fence and say I know what it's like to be out there. Absolutely. I was out there hardcore. But now I'm over here and I'm trying to tell y'all that there's a brighter light if y'all just keep walking towards it. So, you know what I mean? And I commend that and I respect it. And like I think we need a part 2, honestly. But we'll let y'all decide that. If y'all want a part 2, please let us know. But at the same time, bro, like I respect you. I appreciate you. I look up to you. You know what I mean? Likewise, and I'm like, I just know people need to hear this story because it's a real life story. Like it wasn't just people probably just think, oh, he just got it. He work out. That's what he do. And it's like when you say, I had to look at myself through this monitor and tell myself, bro, you gotta get right for your life. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that was just handed to you. So people thinking that it's just handed, that's not the way things work. It's all earned, baby. You know what I mean? It's all earned. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you for sharing your story. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity on the whole platform. I appreciate it. This is dope. Yeah, I appreciate it. This is definitely dope, man. Listen, this has been another episode of Quit the Cat Podcast. This was Starring the Bishop. Today, Tell us what y'all think, man. I enjoyed it myself, but let us know what y'all think, man. It's another episode. Yes. Y'all know where to find us at. If you don't, you better find out. We'll let you know. But I holla. Till next time, folks. Peace. Peace to the gang, and welcome to Quit the Cat Podcast.